Okay, we're going to look at multi-step inequalities today. Our first example, 3x minus 5x is less than 12. We combine like terms. Negative 3x or 3x and a negative 5x is negative 2x less than 12. We're going to divide through the negative 2. Now remember, when we divide through by a negative, when we're talking about inequalities, it flips the inequality. So instead of it being a less than, it now becomes a greater than. 12 divided by negative 2, negative 6. And then once we have that, we can plot it onto a number line. Negative 6, it is greater than negative 6, and it's an open circle because there's no equals, and it always goes in the same direction the symbol's going. So in this case, it's pointing to the right, it's pointing to the right. Our second equation, or inequality, 8 is greater than or equal to 6p plus 2p. We can combine like terms. The 6p and the 2p add up to 8p. And we can divide through by 8. In this case, the 8's positive, so it does not change our inequality. 1 is greater than or equal to p. What's the problem with that? Hopefully you remembered that we normally have the variable on the left. So when we flip this to put the variable on the left, we have to flip the sign. So instead of it being greater than or equal to, it'll become less than or equal to 1. If you remember it from middle school, talking about the alligator always eating the larger thing, the alligator's eating the 1, the alligator's got to stay eating the 1. Just because we change which order we're writing it in doesn't change what was larger. So when we flip it to standard form, we have to change the order. Once we've got that, we can then, of course, graph it. Here's our 1. It's greater than, less than or equal to, so it's a closed circle, and less than means it's pointing to the left. For our third example, 2 plus 5 times the quantity 3x minus 7 is greater than negative 48. First thing we have to do, you guessed it, distribute. Bring down the 2. Positive 5 times 3x is a positive 15x. Positive 5 times a negative 7 is a negative 35, greater than negative 48. Combine the like terms. 15x, negative 35 and a plus 2 is negative 33, greater than negative 48. We can add the 33 over, and we're left with the 15x is greater than Negative 48 and a positive 33 is a negative 15. And to get the x by itself, divide by 15. We're left with x. We divided by a positive, so the sign does not change. Negative 15 divided by 15 is negative 1. Graph that on our number line. At negative 1, we are going to have an open circle, and it'll be heading to the right. For our last example, number 4, 64 is less than or equal to negative 4 times the quantity 2x minus 6. Again, our first step is, you guessed it, distribute. 64 comes down, less than or equal to. Negative 4 times 2x is a negative 8x. Negative 4 times a negative 6, positive 24. To get the x's by themselves, we're going to subtract the 24 over. 64 minus 24 is 40. Less than or equal to negative 8x. And to get the x by itself, divide through by negative 8. 40 divided by negative 8 is negative 5. That was a negative we divided by, so the sign has to change. Now, what's our problem? You guessed it if you said that we don't have it in standard form. When we put the x to the left-hand side, we have to flip the sign. So our alligator is still eating, in this case, the negative 5. Once we're in standard form, we can graph it. And in this case, it's a closed circle heading to the left.